live stream.
Psychotechnologies
live. Woo! Hello, Daniel, and welcome to an episode about meridians and organs. And I kind of want to start off with this fun thing. This little box here says on it, snore ring. And this is the snore ring. It's a device that is designed to, you put it on a meridian, you put it on your little finger, and you put it on between the first knuckle and the hand, like so, and it's meant to stop you snoring. And it does so by placing itself on, like applying pressure to that meridian. And I think it's the small intestine meridian or the heart meridian. I'm not sure. Anyway, that's the little nifty thing. And funnily enough, it's like on the eBay shop, it says, what have you got to lose? It's like $5, you know? You might as well try it because if it solves your problems, that's amazing. Yeah.
I do worry about that kind of marketing.
Well, I assume that only the people spending $5 have $5 to spend.
Yeah. Gives me some ideas that may.
In terms of like the rock that keeps lions away or something. What have you got to lose?
Yeah, like selling magical amulets.
So I did try it because my partner tells me I snore, and we sometimes sleep in separate beds because it's just one stays up late or whatever, and so she didn't tell me if I was or wasn't snoring. So I don't know if it works, and I'll have to try it again and get her to tell me. I don't. So I have this interesting phenomena that when I sleep or when I go into meditation, I sort of turn off my hearing. I can't hear the outside world, and I'll be there, and then suddenly I've had it where the person sleeping nearby has said, "You're snoring," and I'll say, "No, I'm not," because I don't feel like I am. I can't tell because I've turned off my ears in some way, and then they say so, and I'm like, "Huh, okay, interesting."
So, like when you're asleep, someone talks to you, and then you talk back.
I potentially look very asleep, but I might be meditating.
Oh, okay.
But I don't perceive the snoring because my ears aren't delivering information to my consciousness, which is like an interesting experience. But it seems like in order to sleep, my ears just naturally tune that out, or my brain tunes out my ears, and so I snore, but it's fine, sort of thing. Or internally it's fine. It doesn't feel like I'm sleeping while snoring. It feels like I am just sleeping on the inside. Fascinating.
Yeah, I don't have enough awareness while I'm asleep to know these things so much.
Okay, I've had it that I've been sick and trying to sleep, and I've woken up because I couldn't breathe. But I don't have it. Yeah. Snoring is the same.
Yeah, I've had that, like with not breathing, but I use a CPAP now, so it fixes my meridians in such a way that I'm just kidding. I mean, yeah, like it mechanically keeps the nasal cavity open through positive pressure.
I had no idea you used the CPAP.
Yeah.
I think sleep's a super interesting technology, topic for psychotechnologies, because sleep does affect our next day a lot.
Sleep affects everything. Like before I got it, like I was like I would go days where I couldn't sleep.
Wow.
And like it's just terrible. Like it will ruin your life. Because like if you don't sleep like you can go like a day, but like once you get to 2, you start like hallucinating and stuff, right?
Yeah. Well, it's like the day after I don't sleep much, I'm a little bit more hyper and a little bit more on edge. Like everything's a little bit sharper in my awareness, and it's like that gets irritating. And then if I try and go longer, that's when I would start hitting the weird stuff.
Yeah, it's just, yeah, like, and then you stop being able to tell what's real, what's not real.
Hmm.
Like not totally, but like randomly, I'll just, yeah, like I'll just respond to things that aren't real, or people just like talking to me and I'm just not. I'm like, oh, it's probably a dream, because you start like I started doing like the waking dreams, right?
Hmm.
When I was younger, I could go longer, but I'm old, so I need to actually sleep every day. Although I did do, when I was younger, I did do the uberman, so I slept for 20 minutes every 4 hours, and that was awesome.
Oh, how did you go with that? Did it last very, very long? Because
It
I
lasted.
also
I did it a
tried.
month. I did it a full month. And first 2 weeks were like brutal. Oh, sorry, first 10 days. It was about 10 days. The first 10 days were brutal. But then everything just started getting good, and I felt amazing. And I was like, I think I said this on stream already. I was working, and I was like working. I was partying all night, and I was like watching documentaries. Life was pretty awesome, actually. But it's like very rigid. Like you can't ever miss, and you can't be like a minute late, or else you'll just screw everything up.
Yeah, the story that I have is that ultimately you will miss, and then you will screw everything up because life
Yeah.
cannot be that regimen.
Yeah, I don't know that it has to be that way, but that is what happened to me, and I predict if I do it again, it will happen again. But I think if like, I don't know, if I was living some ideal life where I could like control all my whole environment, I would do it again.
Hmm.
But yeah, it makes you very unversatile, but like you just have so much time. It's crazy.
Hmm.
It's just because you just have twice as much time as like everyone else. It's amazing.
But is it productive time?
Yeah,
Yes, you could be productive
yeah,
a lot more of the time.
yeah. Like I was working a full-time job, and like I was socializing, and I was doing like a little bit of, I was doing some exercise too. And the cool thing is that if you don't sleep, like if you don't lie down, like if you don't sleep and you don't need to, like if you do it this way, you know how like you work out and your muscles get like bigger, and then you go to sleep and they get like smaller. That doesn't happen. So you just like stay, you just feel like like you just have that like that work, like that post workout feel just all the time. Or like, I mean, you have to work out still every like it goes away, but it's like way slower. It's like over a couple of days instead of one.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah, and I felt sharp. I didn't take any cognitive tests, but I did feel sharp, and I did have like discussions and stuff, and it did seem that I was like present and able to do all the things. And my social life was fine as well. My social life was good because I was like, oh, I had more energy than everyone else and more time.
Hmm.
They're all like, oh, it's 4 a.m. I need to go to sleep, and I'm like, losers.
Yeah, I'm sure you made many friends by calling them all losers.
Yeah, that was back in the day when you could like do that. Yeah, I remember being young and like this wasn't high school, but this was like probably university age, and like you could just like, yeah, like you could just like riff, like what's it called? Like, yeah, it was like a thing where you like diss each other. That was like a thing back in the day,
Right.
back before everyone got really sensitive.
Hmm. All right, so we were going to look at organs and meridians today.
Yeah, organs and meridians. So just to be like, my opinion, like I'm very skeptical of all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like not organs. I think those are real, but that like
The energy stuff, the subtle maps, the meridian maps, the chakra maps.
no. So
Body.
chakras, I'm on board with. Chakras. To be fair though, I was skeptical of chakras, and then I started experiencing them, and now I'm on board with them. Organs, we went through like some of them you can obviously feel, and then the other ones.
Right. So let's go for the obvious ones. So your lungs, right?
Can.
When you breathe, you can feel the air going in and out. Great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's complicated because like I feel my breath in my mouth, and then I feel my diaphragm at the bottom of my rib cage open up, but I don't actually feel the innards of my lungs. Like potentially there's alveoli everywhere.
Well, yeah, let me do that. I've definitely felt it like when, when you inhale something that you shouldn't, and like your lungs get stuck. That feeling, and then like you have like trouble breathing.
Hmm.
I don't know, I was in a chemistry lab and I sniffed something I shouldn't have. I can't remember what it was. And then
Right.
you get like, it's like, it feels like you've been like punched in like the diaphragm, or when you get punched in the diaphragm, that's the other one.
Hmm.
Where like it like knocks the wind out of you, and then you have trouble breathing, and you can really feel your lungs at that point.
So interestingly, this is an oddity of myself. When I was little, I would occasionally get knocked in the diaphragm, and then I would pass out. And funnily enough, my mom has this story that I would breath hold and pass out, like deliberately hold my breath to pass
I've
out
heard of that.
when I was
I've never
angry.
been able to do
And
that.
I don't know if I ever actually told her, but that wasn't what was going on. I was actually winded, and then I would get winded very easily and pass out, and then like be unable to regain my breath.
Oh,
Yeah, it
so
was
like you'd be
fascinating.
like doing strenuous exercise.
I'd be like I'd bump into someone, or I'd get hit in the chest, like in the sternum, and then I would get winded.
Like
And
the solar plexus.
yeah,
Yeah, I hate that. I hate getting hit there.
well, I think I developed all sorts of like counter pathologies. Actually, I worked out that I could, if you take a breath of air into your mouth and then squeeze your cheeks, you can push the air and reopen your stomach, reopen your lungs, and you just need to do it enough that you start breathing again.
Oh, so you're like forcing air
Back in,
your
right?
mouth.
And you just
Yeah.
need to do it enough that your diaphragm has enough space to open up again. But
Yeah, because
so
your
I had to
lungs.
teach that to myself because I otherwise couldn't breathe.
Yeah. Yeah. So the way your lungs work is that there's always a little bit of air in there, because otherwise, if they close completely, they'll like stick together. It's harder to open them. So
Hmm.
yeah. So but it does happen where they close sometimes, like a collapsed lung. People will
Yeah,
have that.
I
All the
had
time.
a friend in high
Smoking too much
school.
pot.
High school had a no, they had a weird cyst that burst and then their lungs collapsed, and it was
Oh.
confusing and terrifying. Ended up in the hospital, cut out the cyst, and then lungs came back and it was fine. But not what you want. Like teenagers don't like surgeries. No one
No.
likes surgeries.
No.
But
That's
that
never
was a
happened to me. It happens to like skinny people.
hmm.
The lung collapse, it's more likely.
Yeah, there was at the time, I don't know if something ever came after, but it was unexplained as to why the lungs collapsed, like why there was a cyst there in the first place.
Mm.
Uh,
Yeah, shit happens. I don't know.
yeah, weird. Not fun. Being able to breathe is really nice. Anyway, lungs. So we can feel. So if I start at my lips, right, I can feel air pass over my lips, right,
Yeah.
and then I can sort of move back, and I can feel the air through my mouth, and then I can move back, and I can feel
Yeah.
the air through my throat, like upper throat, and then I can sort of trace it lower. And so I'm following the sensations sort of back and down into the lungs.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it like starts to get real warm. Like it's like kind of like colder and drier, I find, in my mouth, nose, and then like in the back of my throat, it starts to like warm up. So like it's harder to feel.
Mm,
It's harder to feel like that. Like
right.
at the beginning, it's easier to feel like the temperature difference and the airflow, like that shear effect. But like as it goes down, it feels less like it's harder to differentiate.
Right. So this is a meditative practice that you can sit and you can meditate and you can follow the breath from uh the lip underneath the nose and possibly even like further away, um, all the way into the body, all the way into the lungs, and all the way further in. And you can trace it all the way, and you can. It's interesting to trace all the way in and all the way out.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, this is one of those things that like take like takes that time and
Mm.
awareness.
Mm.
I guess this is why they use this as the object of meditation, because you definitely can feel it and you can do the things you need to do to know, like, to feel it, but like you have to really like sit and experience it.
Right. And you can, so interestingly, you can feel outwardly. So if you're in a closed room and you are meditating and someone opens the door, the air pressure will change. Like
Yeah.
and so there is some quality of air and air movement that you'll be able to notice or notice a difference.
Yeah.
And so you can sort of trace from the breath at the nose, out of the nose, to the surrounding environment and to the space around you. I used to, at one point, I was living on a main road, and it was a little bit of an older building, and it was a brick building, and occasionally a bus would drive down the street, and the whole building would shake. And I would be meditating when the bus came past, and I would feel everything like the whole of reality shook.
I used to have really good awareness of that when I was younger, like of noticing like open doors and lights and things like that, of where everything is in the environment.
Hmm.
And like always like aware of where all the people are.
Right. So there's a proposal that not only can you feel all the way like outwardly into the air, you can go all the way into the lungs, and then you can go into the rest of the body as well. You can follow the trail of oxygen, trail of sensation. I'm gonna move away from scientific language because it's the trail of sensation.
Okay, I was about to
breathing into the body, right? So I can use the phrase breathe into my right arm and into my right hand. And I can follow the trail of sensation of the breath fully into the fingertips.
Yeah, so that to me, like, it wouldn't be like, that wouldn't necessarily be like following the oxygenated blood around something, right? It would be more like there's like, I don't know what it is exactly, but like, yeah, like I definitely know that sensation of breathing into my body, and like that's a thing that I can do, and I don't know what it means, but it does feel, I feel more in tune with my body when I do it.
Yes. And it's particularly because sometimes we keep like a heaviness in our bodies in certain places. And so following the sensation of new breathing can lighten the heaviness or can change the tone of certain things that feel stuck in the body. But that's so that's more about energy.
Yeah.
If we go back 3 podcasts, we had a whole podcast on energy and moving energy through the body. So there's some kind of energy that is through the breath. Some traditions call it prana, sort of like breath of life, sort of.
Okay. So pranas is the energy.
Prana is specifically breath. There's a practice called pranayama, which translates as the yoga of the breath, and prana being both used as both breath and life, depending on translating. I'm sure I've butchered someone's religious tradition psychotechnology, but prana being and you know, another tradition calls it bodily energy chi or ki, which is an interesting phenomenon to try and personally observe.
Yeah, it's spelled, I think, in English QI, right?
Well, it depends on who's done the translating as to whether it's CHI or QI.
Yeah, so that's like a really big deal in the Scrabble world, because you get get rid of your Q that way.
Right. Just need to find an I.
Yeah.
This is one of those things where subcultures like nest into infinitely into nuance.
Yeah. Everything is interconnected.
Yes. Right. So we got the lungs. So we can sort of feel the air moving through the lungs. We can feel the diaphragm if there is tension on it, which isn't quite the lungs. I don't know if we feel the lungs, like the alveoli of the lungs. But what we do feel is the interface. So we breathe the air in, and then the air crosses a barrier from the oxygen crosses a barrier, and the carbon dioxide crosses out into the blood, into and out of the blood. And then, so if we keep following those sensations, we'll start following the blood around the body.
Wait, sorry, I got lost in my alveoli. Which is just so you can
Help!
follow.
I'm lost in my alveoli. How do I get out?
No, I was like sinking
You can
into
never leave.
and feeling it. Yeah. But yeah, like I'm imagining it as sort of like your skin, like can you feel your touch receptors? Like
Hmm.
yes, but not individually.
Hmm. Right. We can feel when we touch something, we can feel pressure, but can we feel them without touching something? It's a bit trickier.
Yeah, and like can I feel my blood vessels like yeah, like I can feel my pulse, and that's in my blood
Right.
vessels.
So again, interestingly, we feel the pulse moving through the body, but we don't really feel the vessels.
Yeah. But like you know where they are because they're where your pulse is. So like you know, like I can like I have a mental map of a lot of my blood vessels because like right now I'm feeling my pulse. And so like I'm not really feeling the blood, right? I'm feeling like there's no nerve within the blood as far as I know. But you would feel like the container in which it's that which contains it.
Right. Of course, we don't actually have nerves in our bloodstream. Our bloodstream is independent molecules of blood cells floating
Yeah.
around the bloodstream.
Yeah.
Right.
So you
So
can
so
like
if I put my finger on my throat to feel my carotid artery pulse, um, I feel like a sensation of expansion and contraction with the pressure of the blood flowing past. I don't actually feel what is a tube of the artery. I feel just the pressure as it moves.
sure.
Maybe I can feel a tube. Can I feel a tube?
Yeah, this kind of brings me into like I guess like how precise are like what kind of precision are we looking for this language,
Hmm.
right? Like when
Seems
you
like I
think
can feel like a fuzzy area that is lit up when I pay attention to it of pressure,
yeah,
but I
yeah. So
can't.
like yeah, like I know where my aorta is, even if I can't feel like because I can kind of feel the inside, but like I can't like when I say I can feel it, like I don't mean that I can like have awareness of the blood, but I have awareness of like how the blood displaces what's around it.
Hmm.
And so that lets me create a mental map.
So there's a debate in meditative philosophy as to whether knowing something by its absence or by the so the animal that walks on a dirty path and then across a rock may leave footprints on the rock. So you can say that the animal walked this way. This is one of the metaphors in one of these meditative books. We know that the animal walked this way, even though there was a gap here in the footsteps, because the footsteps continue on the other side of the rock.
Right.
Right? We can deduce that the animal didn't disappear and reappear on the other side of the rock. It in fact walked across
Yeah.
the rock.
Yeah,
So
like you
we're
know
looking
where it
at
is, even though there's no evidence.
right. So
There's no direct evidence.
if we look at the pulse, and knowing that we can cut open other animals and creatures and see the venous structure, we can assume that there is a tube here, even though we can't literally feel the tube. We feel the like general pulsing sensation moving along this area. So
Yeah.
we know from it, even though there is an absence, we can still deduce that it is there.
Yeah. Yeah. So then
There's also
like
a
I to me
tricky,
I would say like yeah, I know I have blood vessels, even though I've never seen my aorta, but I know it's there.
right.
And I'm willing to take that on.
Mhm.
I'm willing to call that like not even faith, like I'm willing to call that evidence.
Well, it's tricky because we're working off intellectual or secondhand or confident assumption evidence.
Yeah, I wouldn't
But
say I know it through direct experience because I don't think like I know I have like a pulse in my stomach and like that, but I would nor like in regular and just a conversation, even regular conversation, or even like high evidence conversations, I would still say I have an aorta, and I would say I know like about where it is. I can like
right.
feel it, like I can palpate the pulse, but yeah, and to me that would be like I would consider that true.
Right. So
Even
what about the stomach? You mentioned the stomach. How much of the
yeah,
stomach do you think you can feel?
yeah. So I'm
So I
looking at a
said,
chart. Bring up a chart so people can follow along.
oh yeah.
Also, most of you guys should have bodies, so you can use that.
Yeah, so there's the interior and there's the exterior. So you can try and feel from the inside what your body feels like. And then also you can look at a chart and sort of compare, confirm. And both of those are.
I'm actually having acid reflux right now.
Ooh.
And I have Tums, but I'm not going to take them because I can use the acid reflux to feel what's going on. Right?
Right. You should be able to map out some sort of like tracheal esophagus type area.
Yeah. Let me see. Because like I can feel where the acid reflux is, but I'm not sure. I can't remember exactly where it is. It is in the stomach, right?
Well, it sort of, I would expect it rises from the stomach up through the esophagus. Esophagus?
Yeah, so stomach, and then it pushes against, it's like right under the diaphragm. So I feel it like kind of at the bottom of my throat, but there is also like a burning sensation. I guess like right here, like right at, I got the camera. Yeah, like right at the, like where my stomach, like right at, I guess in my, let's be a little technical, like the xiphoid process. So like my like solar plexus, or where my ribs meet at that pyramid.
So I've looked at acid reflux in a couple of metaphysical books and just general reading, because I was dealing with it a bit on my own as well. So I know a little bit about it. The phrase and metaphysical narrative meaning making often works in story making phrase. The phrase for acid reflux is that you can't stomach life, and if you can't stomach it, then it sort of comes up, right? And this is meant as like a map. So if you can shift your psyche from the experience of not really stomaching it, not really stomaching life very well, to like try on the belief I can stomach it, and see if that like helps the acid reflux.
Okay, so let's do this, because this would be like an organ meditation. I've never done these before.
Sure.
I guess like aside from like maybe lungs and heart. This is like more on that organ side. There's
a proposal here that the inability to stomach life is a postural attitude towards life. It's like, it's not just a belief, it's a posture that starts in your personality and starts impacting your like physical posture, like how you hold your body, right? So if you imagine the posture of inability to stomach life, it's probably like got you squeezing your stomach in some way. And so you can try, so I like the idea of like a tribal chief who is like big bellied and like the master of his domain, sort of sticking the belly out. And if you can try that, I
do stuck in my belly a lot because I'm self-conscious.
Right. So you can try sit in the like tribal chieftain, like big bellied. This is my world. Aha.
All right, let me get a picture of the tribal chieftain.
They're often the fat guy in the tribe. Everyone in the tribe is big size, different sizes, but he's the fat happy tribesman.
Yeah, I'm looking online. They're all super ripped. Oh wait, there's a guy called Tribal Chief.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull up a Google Images real quick, so you can see it too. So you got the like this guy, almost this model. That's a Buddha, but
yeah, Buddha's cool, no? That would work, right?
Yeah, similarly, like just permission to stick your belly out, because who the heck cares?
Yeah, I'm very self-conscious right now.
Right. So if you experiment with shifting that attitude away from self-conscious into like, I got this, overconfidence, and see if the acid reflux changes in any way or like weakens, softens, relaxes.
Actually, it is starting to feel better.
Right. And on the more literal level, like if you squeezing your stomach in, it's pushing acid upwards. Like it's so like you can change this. Now at the same time, you probably don't want to be a fat guy. And so if you want to be able to have your stomach in and not have acid reflux, you're gonna have to do something about like dieting, weight loss.
I've been working on that.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like I'm not just advising you stick out your belly and get over it. I want to add on, like what I've done is I've adjusted your system to have more belly sticking out in order to reduce the acid reflux. But you still have to, if you want there was a reason why you wanted your belly in, fair enough. If you want both that and not acid reflux, you're going to have to lose the weight. And that's a more longer term thing.
Well, or I can accept my body image.
Right.
Like, oh, I'm a dad, so it's a dad bod. That's a thing, right?
Yeah, that is definitely a thing. But you can also be a healthy dad bod.
Yeah.
There are many options in the world.
The gyms keep friggin' shutting down, and I live in a building with a gym, and it's been locked the whole time since COVID, and it makes no sense. So I blame Doug Ford for my obesity.
Fair enough.
And my increased risk of COVID fatalities.
Right. Because it's difficult to exercise right now. Look, I'm sure you're not the only one. Plenty of people have gained a lot of weight during COVID.
Which actually puts you at risk of COVID. So like
yeah. More diabetic, less healthy, less breathing. Anyway, how's the acid reflux?
It's actually better. And I'm a little begrudging of this.
I'm angry. I'm angry that this worked. This wasn't supposed to work.
I don't know if I'm angry, but yeah, like I am feeling like I have to change my attitude, but like I don't want to change my attitude on everything, but I will change my attitude on this.
So there's two things here. One is congratulations, new information. Acid reflux is in a more complex relationship than you realize.
Yeah.
Hooray, walk away, whatever. Second thing, we're not done. You still have to choose, right? Clearly, some part of you was preferring acid reflux over sticking belly out. Now, some part of you is like,
I wasn't really suffering from the acid reflux because I have a thing of Tums in my table, so I just take that every time I get acid reflux.
Right. So you get to choose if you want to medicate from the outside. You get to choose to change your diet, to eat different food to cause less acid reflux. You get to choose to
eat a bunch of bacon before earlier today.
Right. You also get to choose to down-regulate the thing that's increasing the acid. Like there's something putting the acid into your stomach. So you can work on that part of the system, and you can choose to stick your belly out. Like these are all different, but the question is really open to you as a self-led system. What do you want to do with what you have discovered here? Like, how do you want to reorganize?
I think I want to be more comfortable with my body. Yeah.
As in, like you described the self-consciousness and sucking the gut in, and you want to do less of it.
Yeah, I shouldn't have to suck my gut in. It's not like it also doesn't do anything. Like it's like a centimeter maybe, right? Like it doesn't even do anything the sucking in. It just like
in my experience, it changes the feeling of the body. So to stick that gut out is quite the balance point of the body changes.
Yeah, I am noticing that, like it's shifting my balance. And I do want to have like some internal pressure to like sort of keep me upright.
Right.
Because like I do need to engage my core, right? And I don't want to sit all day without engaging my core.
So my proposal would be that the whole body is in balance. So we've just stuck your gut out, and all of these other balances are going to have to decide how they'd like to respond to that.
Yeah.
And
because it hurts my back if I don't engage my core, my back will hurt.
Right. So we're in a constant dance, and I can't claim to know from this distance like what's the right dance point for Daniel in this moment, but it's an exploration of you and your body to have a nice conversation and be like, how do we get more comfortable? How do we find the nicer way of being? I have an interesting thing where my hips have a little bit of a rotation in it, and my walk,
Forward.
I'm up at the front, so down at up at the front, down at the back.
Like your butt sticks out.
No, no, I don't think so. I think my butt is not very engaged at all. There's a complicated, right? So to be up,
your hips are rotated forward, but your butt's not out.
Yeah. So my butt's barely engaged at all. My legs are doing some fascinating, complex counterbalancing thing to get so that I can still walk and so that I can balance. And they're engaging in all sorts of weird ways. The arch in my feet, the rotation of my ankles. I've been just in the last couple, maybe like the last week, I've been examining the details of my walk, and like my leg actually has a bend in it. Like my knee isn't a straight joint. It's got like it's on a curve. It's like the difference between if I hold my elbow in the camera like here or like that, and the like off to the side. It feels like I noticed that my leg isn't actually straight. And there's a whole bunch of counterbalancing, and I suspect I have a bit of a gut because I am doing that to counterbalance the rest of my body and my legs. And so, funnily enough, the strategy for weight loss for me involves straightening up my hips or working out how to rotate my hips back to where they should be in order to adjust my body. And then the belly will sort of decide it doesn't like being there and reorganize, which is crazy because usually, and if anyone came to me and said, I'm trying to lose weight by adjusting my hips, I'd probably laugh in their face and be all like, calories in, calories out, right?
Yeah. But really it's like, yeah.
But maybe
like it's like systems thinking versus
right
thinking.
And I've been hanging out with my body trying to piece together the puzzle of weight loss for a while now. And it just does seem like this is a relevant piece of the puzzle, the hip rotation, the balance of the belly. Like my body really does want to retain that balance for some reason. And as I start to like stretch or try and find exercises that help to straighten the hips more permanently, it does seem like I just feel like eating a little bit less. And it does seem like my weight starts dropping a little bit. But along with that, as my hips rotate, my legs have to like readjust which muscles they're using, and my feet have to readjust which muscles they're using. It's all kind of connected.
Yeah, that's a whole thing. It's like a whole anatomy thing. So like physio is probably like massage and maybe OTs even probably know these kind of things.
And it's such a small detail. Like I can walk just fine, but that's the other thing I've been playing with, a little bit of weightlifting and noticing like the feedback the body gives versus where like good form for lifting, right? So I've got some weirdness in my hips and legs, and so if I bend down to pick something up, I do it in the way that is best for my body, but I'm not doing it in the healthiest way, especially if the weight gets heavier. So it's very strange to like have to edge towards the solution here. I don't know. I'm so obviously very new to the body thing. Body.
I wish we were in the same place. That way we
alignment thing.
Yeah, like see it.
I'm not new to the body thing. I've been in this body for 30 years, but
yeah, but
there's the alignment calibration.
Yeah, there's always like new dimensions. That's so interesting though. Yeah, because like like my kid is growing and like he's still getting used to his body. Still 5 months now, or 4.5, whatever. And yeah, and it's like it doesn't matter how old he gets, he's still going to be like you're saying, like you're 30 and you're still learning.
Right, growing deeper into what it is to be human, hopefully.
Yeah, and like in this world, it's pretty nuts. Life is pretty nuts. Like the world is pretty crazy. Like I feel like people like we don't sit enough and just I don't know, just sit with that it's like weird. It keeps happening to me over and over again. Like something will happen, I'm just like, life is so different than how I thought it was.
Right. Okay. How's the acid reflux now that we've given it a bit more time?
It actually feels fine.
Oh, it's gone. Well,
Yeah.
take that bottle of whatever it was and throw it away because you're
I'm
doing
not
great.
but yeah, I get
Yeah.
your point.
Well, my proposal would be, and this is more of like a deeper uh, philosophy. If your body's doing something, try and talk to it, counterbalance it, like work out what's going on, as opposed to just medicating it away. And that applies for
Well,
ADHD,
it's
applies for
barely
heart
medication.
conditions. That's
It's
very
just
mild. Yeah.
calcium. Is it calcium carbonate?
Oh, okay. And
Like
that,
that's just sounds like
I mean, that's the
there's no
equivalent of
actual.
a like food item. Like if you chose to drink more tea or something, that may change the balance of your body.
Well, probably if I didn't eat a bunch of straight. If I didn't eat just bacon for lunch, probably I would have had it.
Right. And so there's a deeper learning there if you want to like adjust your diet to more of what your body's going to enjoy.
Yeah. I know.
Hey, like you don't have to do it right now. Just like leave it in the background, have it spin.
Yeah. No,
Like
I probably should have done for lunch. That's true.
chances are now that you had the bacon for lunch and then you had the acid reflux, in the future when you go to have a bacon for lunch, you'll be like, oh, this comes with acid reflux.
Yeah. No, what I should have
Already
done.
learned.
What I should have done is had some of the bacon and then put some of it in the fridge and eat it later. But it's just I had a long weekend and
Yeah. Look, you don't need to justify. This is what you have now learned from.
Jack has been complaining the whole day. And I don't know why. Can't
Right.
figure out why.
So the other aspect of acid reflux that I mentioned was something is putting the acid into your stomach. So usually if you suck your gut in, like yesterday, the day before, there may not have been enough acid there to make it start refluxing, right? But for some reason today, like you said, Jack, is your 5-month-old baby has been playing up today, and it's sort of something has agitated you, right? So
Yeah, he's been going on. Yeah, and we also had like a long weekend. Like we did a lot of stuff this weekend.
right.
Um,
So my proposal would be that without being completely certain that the cause of there being extra acid in your stomach is Jack, this has agitated you. And I wonder if the system that puts the acid in your stomach has put more acid in today or now than yesterday or than the other day.
I don't know if it's like more acid per se, but it's like if you're eating like depending on what foods you're going to, and like the bacon is like it's like grease and it's like a lot of grease and fat and stuff.
Right.
So that will like agitate it for sure.
And
then like I should have done it in a sandwich, and then that kind of like helps absorb it. Keeps it, and like also I should eat more vegetables. Like when you have the fiber and stuff, it I don't know if it's like dilutes it or like keeps it solid or something. I don't know what, but that does seem to help.
So we've one solution. So there is acid in your stomach. One solution that we have found is to expand the space in your belly so that it can just more of it can stay there, right?
Now, stop putting so much pressure on it.
My general hunch would be that this would lead you to gain weight actually, because you're keeping your belly bigger, and so then next time you
I am
hungry, right?
Yeah, I'm thirsty right now.
So bearing in mind that all of these systems are in balance, and we want to keep them, you would like to accept your body however it is, and then also you would like it to be healthy and like leaner, perhaps. Which means that just leaving it in your belly is going to make you gain weight. What we actually need to do is take the power thing that is in the acid, and we need to move it throughout the body and spread it around in a different way. We need to output it to another body system, or
I always imagine it going down because like it goes from the stomach to the large intestine.
Right, and if you take the pressure off, it'll go that way, perhaps.
Well, because that's where it goes. Then sometimes I'll feel it, like if I'm not doing the tones and stuff, then I'll feel the acid and I'll feel it acidically like moving through my body. Like if I eat something weird.
So I'm gonna try another thing. Let's try an experiment here. So I have the theory that acid reflux is sort of caused by an excess of power in the body, or an excess of which then flows into the stomach system, which then obviously rises up the esophagus, making the acid reflux. So if there is power in the body that you haven't received as power, what we can do is we can just be angrier. So we can like turn up the dial on your anger, and then you'll process it, or you'll like your body will heat up a bit, and you'll just be a bit angrier. Like, I have a deeper voice.
I see the anger sessions have come to bite me in the ass. No, it's my turn in the hot seat.
Right, but these systems are all connected. So if you can just
I have also been feeling angry, a little bit more.
Right. So if you can give yourself permission to feel it and let it out, let it just be in your body as anger, then it might not end up as floating into the acid reflux system.
I don't know if I want to live my life that way, though. Like, do I want to live my life in anger?
Right. So will it actually be anger? I would say that with mindfulness, it just ends up with a little bit more assertiveness. And also, like, if you can accept it and welcome it, it will just relax as well.
But it's not like there are certain aspects of my life that I should have power over that I don't.
That you are frustrated about? Certain aspects of your life that you're frustrated about. Right. So,
well, like anger,
well, I would say that this is a meditative thing. Like, you are experiencing a frustration. Question mark. What do you want to do with this? And one option is to give yourself acid reflux, and another is to be present to the suffering, and so that you can be more inspired to act on it. Not that like I want to make anyone suffer more than they need to, but you're already suffering. Like, you might as well listen to the acid reflux, not the acid.
Yeah. So like there are some people in my life that pull me into their drama. And like I like them as people, and I want to have a relationship with them, but they'll just, I don't know, like it's like they work at like pulling me into their drama.
Right. So
what if I relax, then like whenever I'm relaxed and I'm just talking to them, like next thing I know, like there's this whole complicated, crazy story that I'm in the middle of that it's on me to do. And I'm like, I don't care about any of this. Right. Or I care about like one little piece that I want. That's like not that big a deal.
So what I hear is a frustration. I am in this setup that is frustrating me. And what I would like is a skillful way to be with the anger and to have the anger so that I don't end up, because I have the strategy of avoiding.
I don't even know what, like, I don't even know. I just don't want it to be that way. And I hate it when they make it that way.
So I see the like desire for a more skillful relationship with this whole thing.
Yeah. Sure.
Instead of like, so your options are ignore it, try and make it go away, or form a more skillful relationship with the thing. And I tend towards that one because,
dude, I've been working at this for years.
Oh, I believe you. I absolutely believe you.
And like it's still more skillful, but like it's like every time you put down one problem, two more show up. And like there's a part of me that's like, I'm pretty sure these people just want to live this way.
Yes, perhaps. Maybe they do.
This chaos. And like they want to create drama, and they want to live in the drama, and they want me to be part of it. And I don't want to do that.
So I realized something this week that I often end up, even to my friends, coaching them through what they're going through. So emotional drama, whatever it is. And I realized that as I was chatting to a few people this week, when we're having the conversation, it is calm, it is clear, like they know what they mean, they're reflecting, they're like, we're in a really good mental space. And the thing we're talking about is, oh my God, he said this to me. And what if the content
that I'm fine with. Yeah, I like that.
Right. So you're
like describing that some people, and I really enjoy that.
Right.
And even those people, like sometimes we're in that space, and that's really enjoyable. Right. Because like, yeah, like that's actually like being in a relationship and not and like sorting through it. Like, yeah, like it is complex and there are needs and we don't know what's going on.
Right.
And
But the emotion isn't happening between me and Daniel. It's happening. Daniel is talking about the thing that happened last week. Right. We're clear.
Or sometimes there's even emotion between
Right.
us and we talk about it. Yeah.
Of course.
But it's like when they come at the side and they do these things, like they say one thing and mean another, and then you get off track, and then the whole thing like starts to spiral. And I'm like, okay, okay, can I like just like let me sort through this? And then every time I try to do a step, it's like another step, and then I just get frustrated because I guess I have no voice. But also like a lot of that's not on them, it's on me, because I'm like trying to, because like I'm used to this stuff, and I do think very complexly, like relative, I guess, to these people or something. And then when I try to do it, I'm like, oh shit, like they're not actually going to be able to understand this concept. Like they're not going to be able to see this pattern because of all like whatever's going on with them. And
I have a hypothesis here. I have a hunch that you're missing one little metacognitive self-awareness step in that moment. So you describe, I'm trying to, like, I see the person starting to tie into the spiral, and I'm like, oh, let me just take a step and get us out of this silly spiral, right? Let's just cut the drama. But every time you do that, it doesn't work, right? You do that, and then you're like, they like twist a bit, and then you're still in the spiral, right?
Well, so that's the thing, yeah. Like so sometimes it's just like that, and it's like over and over, and it will take like an hour to get this to the solution that I'm trying to explain. And then the thing is, like, I have in the past gotten angry. I'm like, guys, just stop. Like, I'm just gonna do like this. Okay, is everyone good? Okay, good. Like that's it. And then it's well, we didn't like the way you did that. I'm like, I didn't like the way I did it either, but like I couldn't be there anymore.
Right. So my proposal is there's an opportunity in that moment, right? You've made a move to try and solve it. The move just spiraled more into it. There's a moment to self-reflect and go like, oh, and possibly externally verbalize about this movement that failed. I am feeling, let's say, upset. I'm feeling kind of sad about I'm trying to explain a thing, and I couldn't get it across. Just like that, right? And there's something
but dude, you don't know the consequences of that, right? Like if I say that's like 100 implications, and I don't know any of them because they're all insane.
Right. So maybe a more skillful version.
And then they react to like the implication of the implication of the implication, and I'm like every single one of those steps was an inferential mistake, and like how am I supposed to guess like what mistakes you're gonna make and then follow this mistake chain? Like that's impossible. And also I don't want to do that.
What is the experience that you have? Like you said, there's going to be a whole bunch of implications. What does it feel like feeling the weight of all of these possible implications in front of you?
Oh, for me, it's nothing. Like I don't feel it. But then they have the implication, and they start reacting to the implication. And then I've missed that step because I'm not in their head, and they kept it from me, and they're better at keeping secrets than I am in finding them.
Right. So, and again, I just want to double check on that. How do you feel about them doing that? So they've done their fancy.
Frustrated, yeah.
Right.
That's really frustrating. And then I'm trying to have a relationship with someone, and they're having a relationship to like ghosts of the past. And also they can't tell me about any of the ghosts.
Right. So I would say that in that moment, there's an opportunity to be present to, you described it as really frustrated. Be present to how you're feeling. And that doesn't necessarily tell you what to do, like you should talk about your frustration or you should name it, but be present to it, because you know that if you name it, and they're gonna make implications. And if you don't name it, then you're suppressing something, right?
Yeah. So actually talking to you, like I've already thought about this. Like it seems that I should just be taking control in these scenarios.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know how, actually. I just realized I don't think I know how to take control of a conversation.
Oh, wait, you told me this. You were saying that the one asking the questions is the one in control.
Oh shit. Yeah. Okay, let me think about this.
You said that.
I know. As soon as I said that, I'm like
number 11. I think it was 11 or 12.
Like, in those situations,
we were talking about sales and
yeah, no,
how to have power in sales, right? The one asking questions is the one in power.
Yeah, you're right. Like that's 100% right.
Oh, I had a funnily enough. So moving house. I had a phone call from I don't know if they have it over there, but over here there are companies who will contact a like electricity provider and sign you up for a deal, and in exchange for they aggregate electricity providers and they offer you the cheapest one, and they get paid a commission by the electricity provider, and you pay nothing for this service.
Awesome.
And classically, the line is if you're not paying for it, you are the product. This is the case with this example. I went ahead and Googled sort of a government-free comparison, which has no, obviously the government doesn't get paid. You just get an energy provider. And it was about $200 cheaper than the one suggested. The power company suggested by the automatic government system was about $200 cheaper than the one suggested by this person on the phone call. Anyway, the person picked up, like called me on the phone and said, asked two questions. The first question was like, and they were both questions that had yeses as answers to them. And it was like, were you looking for a house for a while? And I'm like, I was not like when asked a question, I could just say yes, like, yeah, I was looking for a house for a while. But something in me went like, he's trying to get a yes out of me. I do not like this.
So you're aware of this, so you were able to. Okay.
Right. So he asked two questions. The first question was like, congratulations on the new house or something. And so, you know, the congratulations deserves are like, wow, thank you. So setting the emotional tone. Second question, were you looking for a house for a while? Making friendly small talk as well as getting a yes.
For this thing, like just the sales part of me is thinking of this as
get a chain of yeses.
Kind of background on the person, like what's going on here.
Right. The next question was, can I talk you through some deals or whatever? You know, also a yes. Yeah, sure, whatever. Which is leading off the yeses, which becomes a chain of yeses, and with a chain of yeses, people tend to comply. Very sneaky.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's so like old school.
So at that point,
because people are onto it, and also like you don't want a fake yes, like you want a real yes, because you don't want regret after.
Anyway, after two yeses, I was like, I asked him a question back, and I think I like broke him, like I broke the script, because usually the person answering the phone doesn't ask a question. Anyway, he didn't take that too happily, and he was very confused, and the conversation only lasted about 30 seconds more. But he was like, I'm going to send you the text for the service thing. And I was like, okay. It's just, as it is, I got 2 emails, I think 2 text messages and a phone call. So that's all trying to earn their $200 of commission from me, where, you know, it's cheaper. Anyway, I Googled it and turns out that you get power cheaper elsewhere. Happy days.
Yeah. Yeah, when I was doing it, it was like phone stuff. So we were actually the cheapest.
Yeah. And it's totally possible you can be the cheapest, or like, I believe if people sign up as like a consortium, like a collective of people, you can sort of get a cheaper deal as a wholesaler.
Sure. I don't know electricity, how that works, but yeah.
I don't know enough of these things, but I caught the question. You know, the guy had asked me questions. He was trying to get in control, and I was like, I don't like this. I don't need to play the answer the question game, which I don't think I in changing the script on him, I don't think I necessarily did it in the kindest way, but yeah, somewhere out there, this phone call is being recorded. There's a recording of me being all like, why are you asking me these questions?
So yeah, he should have been able to deal with that as a salesperson. Like your customers are like, and if they're good questions, then you want to, like, that's good, right? That's indicator of interest. So right. Like when I was doing sales, like if people are asking me questions, like that's, yes, I want to do that.
Right. And you know, had he answered me, had he responded to me, said, hey, yeah, look, this is my job. I call people, I connect them up. All the rest.
What was your question? I'm curious.
I think my question was, well, first of all, why are you asking these questions? And second of all, why don't you just treat me like a human? Don't follow a script. Oh, I said, are you following a script? which clearly is not the kindest thing to say.
You should be honest with that. So why are you asking these questions? Like that is a legitimate question that you should have an answer to. And why are you following a script? We didn't exactly follow scripts like that. So
anyway, clearly what I said.
Like that's like if someone asks you, are you following a script, then you're not doing it right.
Yep. Yeah, but I'm like hypersensitive here. Like I don't like the whole moving process. I don't like having to put myself through an application. I don't like authority systems. I don't like, and for the most part, I just keep a fair distance away. But if I have to come in contact with them, I like grind against them.
Yeah, I hate that stuff too. It's the worst.
How's the acid reflux? Is it like permanently resided?
No, it is moving down.
Okay.
See, here's the thing, it's moving down, and now I know like there's like a window in which, like while it's in my stomach, I can just eat Tums, and then that will, like the whole process will just kind of be like, I guess I won't be aware of it because it will just sort of the city level will just be at where it's supposed to be, and then everything will go. But if I don't get it now, then it's gonna like give me like stomachache later.
Right.
When I was younger, I used to be able to eat a lot of bacon and not get problems.
Chances are you are also in a growing body, and so in response to eating bacon, your body just grew.
I didn't eat bacon until I was older, but yeah. Still. All right, I'm gonna do the Tums.
Go for it. There's still the question though of can you outlet this in a different way through your body? Like there is something is overpowered or something is out of place, be it that you're squeezing your stomach in, the acid is overflowing, like there's too much in your body for what it would like to be comfortable with. Interestingly, if you have acid reflux at night, if you lie on your left side, I think.
I did all the wrong things.
Say again.
I did do all the wrong things.
Yeah.
So this is on my actions, I think.
Yeah, if you lie on your left side, at the bottom when your esophagus transitions into your stomach is on the left side, and so if you lie on your left side, the acid will fall back into your stomach. Literally a gravity effect. So if ever at night, pro tip, if ever at night feeling acid reflux, just lie on your left and it'll help a little bit. And then obviously you'll make yourself uncomfortable because you're lying on your left, and so you'll have to like roll back and forth a bit. But hey, it's better than acid reflux.
I wonder about that one. Because like, yeah, these lying on the things, like I find they're not usually as effective as people think they are. To be.
So you're not lying on your stomach, you're lying that side of your body so that the acid falls back into the stomach.
Yeah, but like also I'm sitting, so like the acid should go.
But you
like,
described that you were sucking. You described that you were sucking your gut in as well.
Yeah, but I've relaxed now. And it has seemed to pass lower. See, this is cool. Like I can feel these organs. Like because like the way I'm conceptualizing it, like I guess I am feeling the organs, but I'm feeling the thing pass through. And then that's a thing.
So I would also make the proposal that if acid reflux turns into heartburn, like you feel it nearer to your heart, there's a transition from one system into like the stomach system into the heart system, and you want to feel more things passionately will convert the burn into the like positive heart sensations.
Yeah, usually I just call it heartburn because I think that's what it's called, but it doesn't it doesn't usually actually feel like my heart is hurting. Sometimes it does.
So it sort of depends. I've always taken it depending on where you feel it in your body. So if I feel it just above my stomach, I'd say acid reflux. If I feel it sort of in the middle of my lungs, I would call it heartburn. And if I felt it in my throat, I'd call it like reflux.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know. Chances are they're sort of like very similar.
Yeah.
similar territory. Like it's the same thing. The acid is kind of going in the places that I don't want it. But if it's like
Yeah, but
heart
the
related,
sensation is different. Yeah.
yeah. And so from an interior phenomenological perspective, because the sensations are different, we should divide it. But given that they're nearby to each other, we should work with them all.
See, that's the thing is like I don't think about the body that way. Right? Like it's like I don't know if there was like yeah, because like it's like I think about okay, you got like the stomach and you got like this tube coming, like the esophagus, right? And so for me, it's like I'm tracing that acid. I'm like, okay, there's acid in this place where it shouldn't be. And like
Yep.
I don't like that it would change conditions as it moves. Like, oh, now that's like this, now it's like that.
Right.
Like, it just makes it confusing.
Yes. Fair
Versus
enough.
like saying like, oh, I got, let's say acid reflux would be like reflux, like because like I don't know what reflux means, but it's probably something like back flow or something.
There's definitely like a different. It feels very different if it's in the throat or if it's in the near the heart region or if it's just coming.
Yeah, it feels different, but it's like I don't conceptualize it as different.
So interestingly, if I have it
or like details different, but not
if I have it like at the back of the mouth, I don't necessarily have it at the stomach and at the heart at the chest as well. I will just get it in one of these three places. I don't seem to recall having had it in all three or even two of the three at once.
Yeah, I don't usually have it all the same, but
now I don't understand that because surely if it's coming out of my stomach out to my throat, it should hit the part in the middle too. Fascinating. I don't really know.
I have no idea. There's just so much we don't know. Well, probably like doctors know this, but
it's also that these conditions are not very life-threatening unless you've had them chronically for a very long time. And so for conditions that kill us, like the cancers and the heart attacks, we've put a lot of effort into stopping them from killing us. But the conditions that irritate us, we sort of, the research and the wisdom around them is not as in-depth.
Well, I mean, with this one, like there is a bunch. Yeah, you're right about this. Like they're not, they don't, like there is a bunch of stuff. I remember, I think it was Zach Wienersmith did a whole article on it because he got acid reflux and then he did a whole bunch of research on it. And this was a while ago. All the Zach Wienersmith is the SMBC guy for everyone. The recommended like the recommended what they recommend you do is not actually based on that much evidence or something. Like the stopping smoking thing was what like that was like one of the big ones where he's like there's not like there's evidence that if you're a smoker it's more likely, but there's no evidence that if you stop smoking it's going to help.
Right. Zach being more on the scientific side of willing to read a lot of research papers and on the science behind things.
Yeah,
and also being
his wife's like a PhD.
I want to like biology. Give him a medal for being incredible at what he does, writing comics.
Yeah, dude, yeah, for sure. Like really, he's definitely like one of my
and something of a consistency is super impressive too.
Yeah, he's done SMBC like every day for I don't know how long, but
I actually think he's like 2 months ahead. Like in general, he's got like 2 months in the pipeline.
But a lot of his stuff is pretty topical, so like he does do it.
Not infrequently. Maybe he just shifts his pipeline sort of thing, but he's been doing it for a long, like on the order of 10 years, I'd say more.
Yeah. And they're good stuff even still. Like it's still alive. Like him, XKCD is also one of those. There's this really good one, Obtruse Goose, but he stopped posting.
I was going back 10 years. There was a whole like I read all of these comics and more every day. It's a big fan.
Yeah, me too. It's like every day it was like him, XKCD. Yeah, there's a couple of them. No, I haven't seen all of them now.
Yeah.
But his blog also, he had a good blog he was doing where he would just like learn things and then do write-ups on it.
I wonder about like the acid reflux stuff. I did my own research. I tried some things and I sort of worked it out. But I wonder if I just compiled everything I know about acid reflux, like I've described the like the system before, the power, the acid reflux, the like sticking the stomach out, the shifting that into the more of the heart system. Like,
Yeah, so that one I'm not
I didn't explain that in depth.
yeah.
But
like you did find a thing, so I'm acknowledging that, but I don't know that it's necessarily connected to the acid reflux because I didn't actually experience that today.
right. But like, so is it useful to compile all of this and put it into a document or something or publish it as a like, here are all the things that I know around acid reflux?
Yeah, you should do write-ups. We should be doing write-ups together actually.
Okay.
Because these are what the cool people remember. Because like this is the thing. Like for me, it's like growing up with like these guys like Zach and like not with him, but like I'm on the internet, like
These were my heroes.
kind of cyber stalking him, in the sense like trying to read everything he's done.
Mm.
Oh man, do you remember did you ever see his videos, his YouTube short videos?
From Zach?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, those were the best, man. He had this guy he used to do it with. Like they were like so funny. Like, oh man, so good. I was so sad when they stopped that.
All right. Well, so I could definitely do a write up of acid reflux because it sounds like I can make some use of. Make some use
Yeah,
from.
I mean, yeah, like we should actually do stuff like do stuff together,
Sure.
like write stuff up. I mean, I guess we are doing this together.
Well, the weird thing is I have isolated systems. So I have like stuff around acid reflux, and then I have like stuff around anger, and then I have stuff around like eyes and jaws, and I have stuff around very specific medical conditions, and I have like it's such a mess of conditions that I've looked into, researched, understood, like nuanced the relationship between one system and another. But maybe I just need to write them all up and get them out there. Like
Yeah.
searchability seems important to me.
What?
Searchability seems important to me.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, I think the thing is like I like producing content, but I need to be in a system. Like I need to be part of the thing. Like, hey, here's what like I don't necessarily need like control systems over me, but I need like common goals with other people. Because it becomes like a force multiplier when you're like working together with people. I feel like I'm accomplishing much more.
There's a guy who in the rationality community who found a particular tea that is like a Chinese medicine cure for kidney stones. And
does it work?
I have to go dig it up. It apparently works incredibly well, embarrassingly so. Like, why doesn't the Western medical system know of this thing?
Oh shit, I want to know that. I'm always afraid of getting kidney stones because of the Tums. Read too many of those will cause the calcium buildup in there.
Oh my god. Okay. So again, reason to address the acid system before it starts impacting the kidney system.
There are too many, but I don't need that many.
Right. Again,
yeah. like I'm still under the recommended, but
I'm not telling you that you shouldn't eat the things. I'm telling you that you should sort out the greater relationship between all these systems.
Yeah.
Like I talk about buffers in life, like doing the laundry and then
I didn't have a buffer for food. That was the thing. I normally have a much bigger buffer for food, but I ran out of stuff and we haven't gone shopping.
So I would say that same buffer philosophy applies to the body. So you don't want to be too hot or too cold because you don't have buffers there. You don't want to be too hungry. You don't want to be too taking too many calcium thingies because it may start causing kidney stones. Kidney stones are a buffer, right? The thing starts buffering up in the kidney and then it comes out as a stone. It's just not.
Well, it's like I think it's an over. I wouldn't consider it a buffer. It's a like when you're let's say the kidney stones, like it's an oversaturation of, I guess, calcium. It depends. There are two kinds of kidney stones, but like it's an oversaturation of them, and then they start to like the liquid is unable to hold the whatever they're holding, like the calcium or the I forgot the other one, and then they'll start to crystallize and drop out and then form a call it a stone, I guess, like a ball or something, and then that has to get passed. But yeah, like yeah, I guess the buffer would be like to me the buffer would be the like the liquid saturation. Like you don't want it fully saturated, because then yeah, like you want it to stay dissolved,
Right.
and so
So
you don't want to eat too much calcium or whatever.
right. So if you don't solve this acid system over the course of the next 10 years, I would predict, linking back to metaphysical anatomy, this system will overflow into that system, and you'll have a chronic acid reflux thing for long enough that you'll start ending up with kidney stones.
Could be. I don't know if I'm at that threshold.
No,
You think I'm at?
I think that over a time scale that it will.
Yeah, I don't think it's 10 years time scale. I think it's
Right. Well, look, if you have acid reflux for 10 years, you should probably take it seriously and start having addressing
but
it.
it's infrequent. Like it's not like I don't get it every single day.
Okay, if you have it like one day a month, like it's
I
fine.
get it like once or twice a week maybe.
Ah,
But it's not usually so. Not not no, sorry, I don't get acid reflux. I get acid like that like this where it's like burning and coming up is less than once a month. But I get like my stomach feels burning.
oh,
That happens a couple times.
curious. I don't really have many comments on that other than like,
Yeah.
I wonder
I don't
why.
know what that is. I think that was part of it because I get that and then I eat food and it calms down.
Right,
But
it dissolves the acid, like it buffers the acid.
yeah, but the problem is then I keep eating food.
Yeah. Right. And again, we're having the fat buildup system is the buffer against the acid system. Right.
Well, the lack of fat would be the buffer against it, I think.
As in the like you eat a bunch of extra food and then some of that gets converted into fat.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I keep eating more food. So that's why I started using the Tums more. I'm noticing, oh, actually my stomach is just not feeling great and I want something to settle it. And so I just have like a couple Tums and then that settles it and then I don't have to eat calories.
So for a crazy, slightly different approach, have you tried talking to your stomach and asking it why it's doing more acid or what's going on? And you can quite literally do it.
I haven't done that.
You can do it out loud or you can do it internally in terms of like a more internal family systems type conversation.
I have been doing like awareness and like letting more of my awareness, like letting more awareness, I guess, not awareness exist within the stomach, but like letting my awareness be taken up by, I guess, messages from the stomach. I have been doing that because like I want to know what's going on. So like hearing it more. Like, I've been listening more, I guess. I haven't really been talking to it.
Right.
I've been listening to it more. And then I noticed like, okay, actually it's upset stomach, so I'm just gonna do Tums. Actually, like, yeah, sometimes I use food as self-soothing as well.
Yep.
And so noticing that and then finding other ways of doing that.
I suspect many people do that. And obviously that's sometimes healthy and sometimes unhealthy.
Yeah, I've been doing it too much. Yeah.
I would say
every once in a while, I think it's fine. Like I still do it every once in a while, but I've been trying to cut back. I'm like, I don't really need to just sit and eat a bunch of chocolate right now. I could deal with my problems instead of eating them.
Right. Fair enough. So you can try that like internal conversation. You can try offer it some appreciation and thanks for all the hard work.
Thank you, Timmy. I do feel weird about this because I feel like he hasn't been doing his job, but also
right. And so there's some resistance to just offering it some appreciation and thanks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. But
I've been practicing. Oh, I should tell about this. My wife and I have been doing gratitude every night. So every night we express our gratitude for what the other person did during the day.
Nice.
And yeah, this was her idea.
Cool.
It's awesome. She's already doing her own Psychotechnologies.
Yeah, by all means. These are the wonderful things that lead to long-term success of enjoying the world more and more and more.
Yeah, it's been real good. Yeah, it's a real positive for our marriage, for sure. And I've been getting like better at expressing gratitude as well, which I didn't realize I had a problem with.
Yeah, we should do a Psychotechnologies episode on gratitude. Maybe next time.
Yeah,
there's a lot there in gratitude.
Yeah.
But in terms of, you said you're not happy with what your stomach is doing. I would describe that as, from the psychological sense, internal resistance. One part of your body is doing one thing, and another part is like fighting it. So, from a therapeutic perspective, we want to work through all of those, as many of those as we can, until there is no longer internal resistance. And that by work through, it's not always just like don't hate it. Like sometimes being frustrated at it is what you need to help move it and reorganize it.
No, I don't. Yeah, like it's when it catches me unaware. So yeah, like I don't be frustrated at it on purpose.
Right.
I'm not like that. That's not how I roll. But yeah, sometimes it does. It's like a little awkward. You know, it's like awkward. Awkward. Like,
well, there's an opportunity here as well.
Like elephant in the room kind of situation.
It seems like you don't know why your stomach is having too much acid. Is that fit? What would happen? What would you like to try ask it? Like, hey, why do you have so much acid? And just see what comes up.
Yeah, there's a bunch of things, but it's like the main one is there's too much of it. And it's putting pressure on stuff.
There's too much acid?
No, there's too much stomach.
Oh, okay. Cool. Okay, so reducing the stomach might reduce the acid.
Yeah,
that's a great thing to have noticed. That's like, you're looking for like weight loss strategy plan. Like that's a like, oh, I want less of this.
Yeah, it's motivating. Like it helps like ground that motivation inside me, so that I can have it throughout the day.
Right.
Which is a big one for weight loss. I think it's mostly for like, I guess like most people, it mostly comes down to motivation. Because you can actually just not eat, right? Like if you just ate like only one meal a day, you would lose weight.
So I have the experience that
for most people, there's a lot of exceptions, obviously.
Sometimes I cannot eat, and then sometimes if I try to not eat, then I will get uncomfortable enough, and then I'll end up eating.
Right. So you're uncomfortable, and like, so that's the thing, is like noticing that discomfort and seeing where it is, and
right.
And that's the big one, is like listening to my stomach.
Yeah.
It's almost like I feel like I don't have to ask it because it's already telling me things.
Tends to be parts of our body system are like yelling at us what they want us to know.
Yeah.
And we have built up a hardened resistance of ignoring it.
Right. So like it feels I don't like to ask people things. I don't like to ask people questions when they're trying to tell me things. In general, because I find if I like interrupt them and ask them questions, they don't want to answer the questions. But if I just like chill out, then all my questions will get answered. It's just not in the order that I want them.
Right. So sometimes I will. How will I do this? Was my question. I asked myself, how do I do this? And my answer is that I would probably. It depends. Sometimes I will express my confusion. Like someone will be explaining the thing, and I'll be like, wait. How did that? Like before you go on, can you clarify this detail? And usually it gets answered like that.
No. I mean, I'll ask questions, like obviously, but usually if someone's talking, I like to, and then I suddenly realize, I'm like, oh, actually, like I want to be engaged in this conversation and know what's going on. Then I listen for a little bit, and then I can more take control. This is starting to remind me of the other thing. Okay, yeah, this is reminding me of the other thing where I feel this powerlessness within my life of like people talking, and like that's the thing. Like for them, it's like I'm listening, but then they just keep talking, and there's no chance for me to. That's the thing. It's not a back and forth conversation, because there's no chance for me to talk, and there's no chance for me to. And I do try to do the asking questions taking in that way, but I realize like I ask the questions and then they'll just not answer it and just start talking about other things. And so it becomes like they're having a conversation with someone else. and that becomes extremely frustrating.
I think
That I don't know how to deal with.
I have some favorite moments because when I ask questions, and often when in a psychotechnology sort of context, when I ask someone a question, I am usually pointing to a very specific phenomenon. Like if I say, and how does that feel? Or how do you feel about that? It I find it fascinating the ways in which I don't get that answer.
Right.
Because but it's not just that I didn't get the answer, it's that I got a different answer.
Yeah, you got an answer to a question you didn't ask that you don't care about. That's not relevant.
Right. But it's not that it's not relevant. That answer tells me something about this person. So it may tell me that this person doesn't know how to get to those feelings. It may tell me the shape in which those feelings are, that they are suddenly avoiding it. Like if they answer slightly differently, but they speak very quickly, maybe it will tell me that they are anxious about the thing, you know? And so whatever answer I get, it may not be the answer that I asked for, but it will be a way in which it gives me like a sense of the answer. And so I try and feel into how that is the answer anyway. And so, for example, if I ask someone how they feel and they say, well, I think blah, 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 then there's a feeling that has inspired the sentence, well, I think blah, 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 blah. And I will listen to, and I will try and tune into what is the feeling underneath the, well, I think blah, blah, blah. And it's a little bit.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so like there's a thread that shows up and then you follow the thread and see where it attaches to. I have done that, and the thing is that it's this huge ball of insanity. Like it's like the threads are interweaved. It's like, oh, do you know felting?
Yes, yeah.
Felting is?
So making felt using a felting needle, you usually get wool or cotton, and you sort of rub it together until the fibers start to interact with each other and start to tie each other in knots, and you have a little felted frog.
So this is a little felted frog that my wife made me. So what you do is you take, I guess, yarn.
Yeah. You take, looks like a wool or fur.
Wool.
Yeah, something like that. Kind. The fluff. You take fluff.
Yeah, and then you stab it with a needle a lot. And what happens is all the little fibers, they get interwoven and knotted with each other. Mm-hmm. And then they become stuck together. Mm-hmm. They're not stuck together, but it's like they're all knotted kind of within each other. So you can't pull it apart, like unless you, like it's very difficult to pull apart. Dryer sheets are like this. If you ever take a dryer sheet and like sort of pull it apart, you can see that they're all threaded. Because what they do is they take all these threads, like, and they put them they mix them up together until they become a block, like and absorbed with the thing that they want, and then they slice them real thin. So you can actually pull apart the dryer, and the dryer sheet is like this thin piece of just knotted together. Dryer sheets are actually fascinating, but my point is like that's what it becomes. Like I go in the thread and it's attached to another one, and then it's like this whole ball of mess. And like I don't mind. I actually like dealing with that, but it has to be like I don't want to get pulled into that. Right. So as like a psychotechnologist, if I'm like doing like this is a lot of like set and setting, right? Like this is what set and setting is supposed to do. It's designed so that you have the correct orientation towards it, and the correct relationship with it, because otherwise you become part of the mess, and then you can't get out, or it becomes hard to get out. And so with them is like they're really good. Okay, so like it's like my mom is actually the person I'm thinking of that does this the worst. And like she knows all my threads and all her threads, and so like everything just becomes like this like tangled web of insanity. I really like my mom though. Like I'm not dissing her. Like she's really nice and helpful. But like sometimes she does these things and it makes me crazy.
Right. So there's a way in which sometimes phenomena try and tell us, like I have this experience of I have a relationship to this web of knot of insanity, right? And it tries to tell me that it's so big and overwhelming, and I'm already in it and big and overwhelming. right?
Well, it's not that it's necessarily big and overwhelming. It's like it sucks you. It's like sucks me in, and it gets like all my energy.
Right.
And then like I get left in this like twisted state that I don't want to be in. So it's like some things will like suck my energy, and then I feel like I have like my friend, like I had like we hang out, and like at the end I feel very like, I don't want to say drained, but like all the energy's gone, but I feel like I'm in a much better state, and like I've untwisted myself in many ways. And this is like the opposite. It's like I spend energy to twist myself.
Right. So for this one, I would say there's like skill and practice that comes from doing this a bunch of times. And it is at this point in my life, it is very difficult to hook me into a thing and to have me in that like lost in the spiral, because I've done it so many times with so many different phenomena that the furthest I will get is like, I appear to be having a twisted knot like phenomena. And I can just say that. Like I know I don't actually get, as opposed to like being in it and not really being sure what I'm in it, and then 3 hours later I'll be like, oh, that was a knot. That was a twisted knot phenomena. Nowadays I don't even get into it. And it just took a while to get the hang of those, to like no longer get sucked in.
Yeah. So I think generally I'm pretty good at that.
Yeah.
But
there's always a couple people.
I feel like my mom's just really good at this. like she's just better than me.
There's always a couple people in your life, and particularly in the direction of family.
It's when her, I don't know if I should say this on there, but it's when her and my wife get together. They get me.
I would say that it's something like the people who you care about and are close to you are intertwined with you in such ways that
that's the thing, is like there's already so much intertwixtness, or intertwinality. And then it's also the other thing is that they're doing reality as well. So it's not just a relationship, but it's also what's going on and what's going to happen. And then those involve other people as well. And so those threads become really long.
Yep.
And like future and relationships and all that stuff gets really complex.
Yeah. I almost think it's a human universal to propose that your family will be able to push your buttons in ways that like a random stranger is not going to be able to do, because you can be like, why? Goodbye. I'm leaving now.
Yeah.
In this case, you are stuck with them in some way because you have committed to being present to them.
Yeah, and there's a whole history, and like that history predates my awakening or whatever, like predates my ability to do psychotechnology.
I must say, when I jumped in the deep end of, I guess, psychotechnology, I suddenly had really strong mindfulness. Everything was clear. And my favorite thing was to look at my fingerprint and see how vivid it was. Like suddenly, like, oh, look at this thing. Like everything is super vivid. Anyway, I went and saw my family, and I got out of my car, going like, okay, I'm going to be mindful here, like as I am all the time, but I'm going to be mindful with my newfound skill and power of mindfulness, closing the car door to like walk into the house to see them, and then opening the car door again, sitting down in the car and going, what the heck happened? Where did my mindfulness go? Like all of my mindfulness just gone. Who was I just then for the last 2 hours? What the heck happened there? Why did I lose all my mindfulness?
Yeah, damn, yeah. That's what they say. If you think you're enlightened, go spend time with your family.
A Ram Dass quote of spend a week with your family. Yeah.
Yeah, and that is so fucking true. Like that keeps you just so so
hopefully humble.
Yeah, like so very humble.
So I've been looking at this for a while, and I like, why family? Why is this a thing that if you're enlightened, go spend a week with your family? Why is it difficult to spend a week with your family? And my theories include that the interconnectedness. So the way that I've been playing with this idea that you grew out of your mother. You quite literally, it's like she grew an extra arm and then chopped it off. And so to think that you are just like her arm or something. And sure, you grow up to be your own person and like have your own personality, but really, you started off as like a seedling from.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a seedling. You weren't a seed that then grew into a tree. You were like the first tree ran runners and roots and then started popping up a new tree.
Yeah. You're like a what's that called? A suckling?
A suckling, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
but and then eventually the suckling separates from the original. But really,
A sucker, yeah.
you are just her. And you are like an arm.
Yeah.
And so the belief that we are distinct from our family is both confusing and wrong. And also the belief that we are so deeply entwined with our family. And the same applies for our personality. When we're growing up, if we have siblings, like we are a makeup of both of our parents, right? And then the personality that forms is also bounced off of their personality all the time. And we are a makeup of them with a reflection of them. So chances are we pick up parts of them and we are
Yeah.
the playing out of them. And so
Yeah. Yeah.
if they had incompleteness, now let's face it, they probably weren't enlightened. Shh, don't say that about my mother, she'll kill me. But they probably weren't enlightened.
My mom is
And so
definitely.
they had stuff. And then that stuff carried down a generation and then it has worn itself out between me and my siblings. And that stuff is still around. And so now I have a parent generation that I'm intertwined with, and I have a sibling that like sort of is just another arm like I was that I have that and we picked up different stuff from our parents. We sort of I
But
got
my sibling relationships are pretty, yeah. Like those ones don't trigger me.
that's
Like I
good.
got a brother that's very similar to me, but like different. So it's like kind of like
Hmm.
shifted. But like we see the world differently, we act differently, and we have different like things. Like we're very different, but we're also like very similar. But it's like we get along fine just because we have good boundaries.
Right. So my proposal here is that there's family is like this because we're so interconnected. Because we are like arms of the same, we're like suckling saplings of the same original tree.
Yeah, because there's a sense in which I'm still connected to that tree,
Like
and
imagine
I don't want to like like I'm differentiated but not severed.
right. So imagine if one tree grows two little saplings, right? And they both get bigger and then they start blocking the shade from each other or from the original tree, right?
So
That's
so that happened a little bit when we were younger. There was like, yeah, there's like some conflict there, like growing up. But now we're like far enough, like now we have enough space
yes.
that like with my siblings, it's not like that.
So my proposal here is that this may be inherent to the nature of families or the structure of growing up in a family, is that you will kind of like bump into each other and have to like figure out where the boundaries are and figure out what is crossing
Yeah,
into someone else's territory and what is like them crossing into my territory. That whole thing needs to be worked out.
yeah, it does.
And so, I've done a lot of personal work, and that really started off with where I was and working back through, happens to be working back through my memories and through my experiences and cleaning up my stuff, right? The stuff that I really experienced until I got very young and I did like holotropic breath work, rebirthing, like trying to, feels like I covered a lot of the experiences of my lifetime, right? They're all clear. But even after my lived lifetime is done, there is still the relationship to the people around me. The relationship now, it's not done. I'm not done. I should make make a healthy claim here that I'm not done. But even so, if I were starting to feel more complete, then the people around me start being part of me. Like if everyone around me is having a bad time, but I'm living in Wonderland, that's not good. That's not true enlightenment. I should start acting in service of them. So the people around me, and then further, taking a step further, my family and the people who I came from, I can turn around and help them. And then my community and further like to the whole world.
So like yes, I agree with that. And this is the way I live my life. But there is something about parents like it's you can't like I don't know, I guess you can, but like it's like what like I have to like reparent my like a lot of this stuff, like it's like reparenting, right? So I
Right.
started with myself, so I'm doing a lot of like reparenting with myself, of like, okay, like these are not the
What is the
way.
adult way to be in this moment?
Yeah, and like training myself and like holding containers for myself,
Right.
which I have to do. I do the holding containers a lot less now because
Mhm.
it's a lot of the stuff is
I
already.
assume you've started making a permanent container, and then like your container's always with you, and no worries, you don't have
Well,
to.
I'm sorry, I'm drop. Yeah, like I'm trying to drop that one actually.
Right.
But yeah,
So then
yeah, yeah.
it happens that once you have a good container around you, you can start. Your container just starts holding the people around you as well. You support them.
Right. So I'm trying to externalize the container, essentially. Right. So I'm like dropping it, but like as and like letting things in, and then the things that are coming in, either like accepting it, like this is part of reality, or like this is what I want, or setting it up such that I don't have that it won't come in. Like the boundaries will be externalized.
Mhm.
And then so we're doing that like we're doing like so I'm doing a lot of that stuff. So a lot of that was like with my wife, and like it's cool because I was doing a lot of the containering with her, like, and then I just dropped it, and then she started after a while, like she started doing the gratitude the gratitude thing. So now she's setting up containers for us, so I don't have to do as much. But she's also like I don't want to put it like I'm doing all the work and she's not. Like she's doing containers in other areas as well. Like there's a lot going on. It's very complex, but the yeah, so it's cool because like now the people are starting to hold that from me, and um,
It's also like your ability to not need a container in various circumstances and still be okay.
yeah, and as I get bigger, like things happen, and it's just
There's a real
like
skill there of being able to be like,
I'm bigger than
I'm okay, but I'm not okay, but I'm okay.
I'm not okay, but I'm okay.
Like, oh, this was really bad.
Yeah,
Like, I didn't like that roller coaster at all, but I'm fine. Or
yeah.
I'm kind of hungry, but I'm fine. Or like,
I don't know. I don't have a lot of the not okays anymore.
well,
That kind
that's
of
great.
that kind of stops. It's just like with this thing. I wouldn't say I'm like not okay, but like there's a thing that happens and I'm not okay. I guess I'm not okay with that.
So to check, is it that you've planned your life in such a way that you don't bump into as many not okays as before?
Yeah, it's just so infrequent, or
Right,
the thing that's happening is so novel that it just the experience itself is just interesting,
right. And so
and
if
so
you
I'll learn a lesson from it, but I'll be like, okay, that was okay to do once.
right. So if you in the future you've gotten rid of the not okays by avoiding them. In the future, if you re-encounter one or another not okay, do you think you would be fine to handle them, or do you think you would be like,
Right. So novel ones are fine because it winds up just being like my life, it just becomes interesting, or it's an adventure, right?
hmm,
Like when a bad thing happens the first time, it's not usually so bad, at least for me.
hmm,
I guess like the place I'm in now, like when bad things happen to me, it's not like in their novel, like that's interesting because on one hand, bad thing happening, on the other hand, there's this whole part of the world that I get to experience now. And this whole new thing or new dimension or new way of being or whatever you want to call it is like new, and that's like cool and exciting and then interesting and all that. So that's actually pretty awesome. But it's the chronic stuff that I hate, like the things that happen over and over again. This is with my mom, right? Like when it's new people, it doesn't bother me so much
all right. If a new
because
person comes in your life and they're controlling and they're like, blah blah blah, he said this, and you'll be like, wow, you're a real drama. But if it's an old person,
it's actually fascinating, right? Because it's there's no hooks. They have no hooks yet. So the thing is that I know I'm really good at like noticing the hooks for. So like with new people, it's like they're trying to get their hooks into you, and you're trying to see the hooks before they come. And so I can mostly get them, and then the ones that I don't get and they pull, then I'm like, oh, like that's interesting. Like I didn't know that was there. And so they'll pull those threads at me, and then I'll get to like sit and think about those threads, and like it's actually quite interesting. Like why did I react that way? Like why am I doing this? Like why do they have this power over me? why, like, what's going on? And then, and this is a skill set that I'm wanting to learn now. So it's actually, like, it's actually fascinating. Like it's interesting. Like even when someone gets me, it feels like a chess game. Like if they do this new
I've been
gambit.
got.
Yeah, like how did you do that?
Oh,
Like,
I pinned. Like, how exciting.
yeah, like you won. Like how did you do that? But then then I gotta see like the player behind it, and then if the player is like good faith trying to build up, then this is a potential friend. And if they're like just doing the thing, then it's
Like they're trying to manipulate, or they're trying to get something out of you. Or...
yeah, like in like a non-positive some way, then it just becomes like then I get to practice the like letting go. And that one's really hard for me. Like for me, it's like I get like attached to people very quickly, and then yeah, and so that one's something I'm practicing as well. But yeah, with my mom, like I can't just like let go of the, like I can't. That's the thing, is like it's like there's like letting go. Like if I let those hooks go, then that's, you know, that's it's like being cold. It's kind of it's like the silent stuff. Like I actually have so much problems with this. It's letting, like it I feel like it's kind of like one of the worst, I don't say the worst thing you can do to someone, but it's incredibly, it's really like, I'm gonna say it's the worst, even though, but like I don't mean that. I mean it in an exaggerating way. It's a, I don't want to use that word though. It's like when you dissociate, like when you just let go of the relationship, when someone does a thing and then you don't respond, like that's, you're like abandoning the relationship. And that's
Interestingly, so the Gottman first response of positive, second response of negative, and third response of dead silence. The third one is the one that really kills relationships.
Yeah, that's the one that kills relationships.
Negative responses, sometimes you need to tell people what you don't like, and you have to respond negatively to do it. Although there is usually a positive way to still say thanks, but no thanks. Or thanks, but I don't like
it. Yeah, like acknowledging the relation, like the good way even to do it, to acknowledge the relationship bid. And like, hey, I see you're trying to do this thing and connect with me, but I don't want to connect with you in this way. And then that way you're still building that relationship. It's just not in that way. Maybe I gotta get better at that. What skill set?
Yeah, there's what's popped into my mind is like, so we're talking about bids and bid responses from the mathematical researcher turned therapeutic researcher John Gottman. Positive response would be like, I say, hey Daniel, or Daniel says to me, hey, would you like some chocolate? So he made a bid in my direction. I can say, yeah, thanks. I can say, you know, I hate chocolate. How dare you? Or I can respond negatively. I can also say, thanks for the offer, but no thanks. So I can respond positively, but decline. Or I can just do nothing, which may end up being like a glare at him or like pretending I didn't hear. The do nothing is really the toxic one. The negative one is obviously not ideal, and the more positive one is better. But what we want to do on top of the positive one is you want like a super positive bid. Like, I don't just want to say, hey, thanks. I want to be like, and this gets a little cringy as I like lean into the like, wow, I really appreciate your offer. That's really wonderful.
See, but that thing, like,
and so, I can make it worse, and I can make it super ironic cringe, right?
Right. If you do it ironic, that's actually probably worse than ignoring.
Well,
because then you've twisted that
in a like healthy comedic way, but you can also like the mild positive response to the like genuinely like, let's celebrate. This is great, wonderful. We have chocolate. I love chocolate. You know, it is. You know what time it is? It is Thursday night, and it is chocolate time. Oh yeah. You know, and I can
like that's good. That's creating a good relationship when someone does like this nice thing for you, and then it turns into this whole fun party.
Right, and it makes everyone feel good to really lean into the positive bid, and it's fun to do. And I'll be honest, I don't always have the energy to remember to like double down, lean in, but
Yeah, but you can't do that 100%. Like if you're if
I
you're
think with
forcing yourself
practice
to
it
do that
gets.
100,
Oh yeah, if you're forcing yourself, don't do it. Like
yeah, because
do
then
yourself
it's
so that
not
it
a
isn't
deep
forced.
relationship. Like it's just
But you know, if you have the free capacity, lean in. Like be thrilled.
yeah, like enjoy that this person has done this bit, and now like you're in a situation where somebody wants to connect with you like that. Like that should feel good.
Hmm.
If it doesn't feel good, then that means something's off.
Mhm.
Um, so actually, it's interesting in our relationship, we do acknowledge these builds and stuff, bids. So sometimes it will be like, because like we live with each other, right? So there's a lot of like bids that get rejected just because like I'm not gonna say yes to everything, or like we're always like doing stuff,
Hmm.
and so yeah, like sometimes it is like she'll do this especially where like she'll reject a bid and then I'll go away and then later she'll be like, oh okay, wait, like oh I realized that I rejected your bid and like
Right.
this is and like here's what was happening. So it's like
So
situations
there's
like
something
this.
not talked about Gottman, which is repair around bids and like recovery, which you're describing, which I think should be investigated and expounded and published for people to be able to get the sense of. So the Gottman stuff really says good relationships have good bids and more good bids than bad bids by a ratio of at least 4 or 5 to 1.
Okay, so what's that? That's 80.
So the
80.
positives over the other types.
Yeah, 4 to 5 is like 4 is 80%. 4 to 1 would be 80%. Or 5 to 1 would be 80. 4 to 1. 4 to 1 would be 80%.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it's 5 to 1.
But essentially they're like super relationshipers really have like 10 and they're like weirdly toxic too high is like 15. Yeah, but like the less negative is the better. Like there's a
Yeah.
problem that if you have no negative responses, chances are someone's hiding and not expressing the negatives.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like you want a certain ratio, because if everything's good all the time, then this is an opportunity to deepen the relationship and take chances.
Yeah,
And if you're taking chances, some of those are gonna go.
vulnerability, and there's some positive reward from the vulnerability. They did
Yeah.
who we are in relation to other people. Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's an interesting one with relationships, is that I find I like the ones that like the best almost are the ones where you don't necessarily have to talk to each other as much.
Like you don't have to meta piece together.
Yeah, but I like for me like there's relationships, and then like the next step is being able to go meta, and then like the step after that is not needing to go meta.
Yes,
But like you still have to go meta sometimes, but
but much fewer times. Yeah, no, that makes
yeah,
sense. I
but
would
like you're both responding to the environment and to you and to each other.
I would say that there's like you just get one another is a deeper relationship, and so you don't need to go meta is a deeper relationship than you need to go meta all the time to double check. But you've actually built up the trust, and so now you don't need to go meta.
Yeah, but yeah, I agree with that, and I do find though that going meta is probably one of the quickest ways to do
Hmm.
to just sort through everything.
I would say also that secure relationship is that like if you look at attachment styles, the the types like anxious or avoidant versus secure. Secure is when you believe that the person is like knows what you means well. Anytime they do something, even if you don't like it, you know that they mean well. Um, you every time you
Yeah,
do something, even if you get it wrong, they know that you mean well.
yeah,
There's none of this. There's a lot less of the like, why would you do that? That's so mean to me, and more of the like, oh, I don't like that. Thanks, or like, oh, I see what you were trying to do there, and unfortunately, it didn't work.
yeah, yeah, and like just roll it and be like, yeah, like I know what's going on. Like bumping into or whatever.
Mm.
It's interesting because like yeah, like with a good relationship, like we bump, like if my wife bumps into me or we bump into each other, like sometimes it's like okay, it's like the first time it's an accident, but then after that it's like on purpose, because we're
It's a dance.
yeah, we enjoy like touching each other, right? And it's like, but like plausible deniability, like feels like we're flirting and like it's like flirting and like it feels like we're dating kind of.
It's a bit, right? And bit
Yeah.
positive response.
Yeah, like oh, I'll just like stretch and put my arm around, like because like that's when you're younger, like it's like a callback to it makes me feel young again. The other thing I wanted to say was I find super interesting is, do you know that line, being in love means never having to say you're sorry?
Ooh, spicy. All right. Yep.
So I hate that line, but I think this is the thing that they're referring to.
Ah.
It's that you don't like you're in this flow state with each other and you don't need to apologize because you both know what's going on. But also that's a terrible way to run a relationship.
Yeah, I'm good with communication as well. But also, yeah, I've never something pops to mind here that I've never seen the sort of like guidance on building long-term relationship and what are like communication is good, but what does communication feel like over a 10-year time scale? And how do you prepare for that and get into that 20-year, 50-year time scale?
Yeah, I mean, I'm almost there. I think we got married 2015.
Wow.
So we're 7 years, and then I think we dated for, I want to say 2 years, let's say before, like dated, engaged. So yeah, it is almost 10 years. It's 9 years. Almost 10. It does feel like we're meta a lot now.
There's a skilled path of doing it once, doing the meta at the same time as the deeper.
Yeah.
At the same time as me. Like we
just
that's
the thing. Together. That's the thing. Everything's all the layers are happening at once.
In a good way. And they can because they're all working. It's when they start breaking down that they can't all happen at once.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So okay, so I think that's kind of where we're at now is like we can do any of them, but like to do them all at the same time in a good long-term sustainable growth reorientation, like when you just like start adding more and more, it's like you start to hit like this like you can always add more, right? Like I mean, like it depends on how you're living your life, but obviously I'm not going to do that thing where I just hit this thing and like that's it and this is my life from now on. It's like it's like always like whatever's going on, something else, like as soon as there's like a normal, there's something else happening. Like there's something else being added on because you can always do better. Right. And I mean that attitude itself is something that also is examined as well.
We're coming up on the hour. We should probably wrap up. It's been a fascinating journey through.
Wrap up all this whole organ conversation, just like
right,
just like the fascia does.
Man, I didn't even get into fascia this time. Fascia's
I know you love fascia.
I'm gonna save Daniel today from fascia, but yeah, we started at meridians and then we went to like some very specific. We went lungs and then we went.
Yeah, we didn't really do meridians, but we did do some organs.
We went through acid reflux because that's where you're at, and then we went through this tied in knots drama thing that is interesting, which is connected to the acid reflux. There's something there, right? It came up in the middle of us talking.
You're making this connection. No, it came up because you're like, oh, it's related to this. So then I start talking about that.
Right, but
it felt good to talk about.
Unconnected, like you didn't start talking about going to the beach because that is completely unconnected. What you did do was.
Well, you didn't bring up the beach.
You could go out the beach. That's something that is probably completely unconnected to what we've been talking about. All right, here's the deal.
No, you brought up the anger. No, I want to do this because this is like no.
The way that the anger system connects to the acid reflux system, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you brought up does it connect to anger, and I was like, because I'm not necessarily going to see the connections, right? Because I'm playing the part of the person who's experiencing pain.
Yeah.
Right. And so you're saying, hey, there's a connection here. So I'm imagining what would it be like if I was a person who there was a connection here and I didn't know what it was, which like I don't know if there's a connection here, so I don't, right, like you're right, so I'm imagining that it possibly is a connection, and then so we were exploring that, but I don't know.
Let me say this differently. I I find it meaningful to propose and to search for the connection that is there. And
Right,
sometimes it becomes obvious and sometimes it doesn't. And so I
right,
like to play in the direction of like, is this connected? Is this connected in a useful way?
right. So I was playing with that as well because I want to see if there's a connection there as well. And I will say that I didn't see evidence either way, I think.
Okay, fair enough. Right. So then we looked at the
But it
family.
did feel good to talk about. So maybe, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last thing we covered was like family relationships. And if you're enlightened, go spend a week with your family. And then relationships and like super bid responses.
Yeah, I never heard of the super bid one. It's good.
So
There is like the first thing that comes to mind is doing it like over the top and fake and like people not responding well, but I think that's not what you mean. I think you mean
if
like
you
an
get it
organic.
right, and it's a practice of, and this will be for next time when we talk about gratitude. It's a practice into tuning into what is true and meaningful for you and sharing that. It's a very powerful thing.
Tuning into what's true and meaningful for you.
Right. So if when Daniel says, here, have some chocolate, and I'm like, it is Thursday night chocolate night, I give that like this is what's meaningful to me.
Oh shit, yeah. This
Something
moves
great.
into actually reality distortion fields and stuff.
Okay. Maybe we'll
Someone
cover
just
that
did
next time as well.
maybe we should do that. Someone just did a talk at the Stoa. Zoe
Jersey,
something.
Jersey, I think. Reality
Jersey?
distortion fields. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think she also wrote a couple Medium articles where she describes being sort of caught in them and having a bad time in them. I'll
yeah.
have to watch that.
Huh?
I'll have to watch that talk before I can say anything else on.
Yeah, I only watched like half of it. She did like a presentation for the first half and then started talking. But I like the first half. Reality distortion fields are really, really interesting. I got a crazy story about that one where well, it's not that crazy, but I was with a guy. He was going through a manic episode, but I didn't know because I was just met him. And then so I got to do that whole, and he's like really self-aware too. So we're doing like all the vibe smithing while he's going through the manic thing. So I kind of have a feel of what mania feels like.
Yes.
Which is pretty cool. So we can talk about that maybe.
I can have a long conversation about the phenomenon of bipolar as well. We're going to put that on the list.
Yeah, cool. Because reality distortion fields, I think, are important because I especially for this kind of stuff, because I do like I feel like we're playing on the edge of that, and I try not to go there. I try not to create that because I don't want to live in that, and I don't want to do it to other people. It's kind of like violence a little bit, like the other kind of.
It's about subtle and more causal violence.
Yeah.
I would say that if there's a way in which I can give you a negative reality with a reality distortion field, and then I've done a causal violence. But there's also a way in which I can give you a positive reality. For example, if I'm a strong God believing person and I say, isn't God divine and wonderful and look at all this, how beautiful the world is, I can give you a positive reality distortion.
It's positive, like good feels, but if you're distorting reality, but like you're distorting reality, it's going to cause problems later. But I also want to acknowledge this is different than it's now Thursday chocolate night, which is sort of a reality distortion field, but
that one's more like
not because it will actually be Thursday chocolate night. So right. You're actually not lying.
That's more like an invitation, like join my reality where we're celebrating Thursday chocolate night. And you can say like, haha, okay, or you can be like, heck yeah.
Yeah, like haha, no, it's a dance party, right? Like, but then there's like a little bit, but I think all reality distortion fields I think do require invitations. We've got like the whole like vampire situation going on, but that's another talk. We're done. Psychotechnologies live. Woo!